Jake, we really need to get moving right now.
Linda, what is going on here?
We need to use that aircraft to get out of here before it's too late.
I thought it was going to be another ordinary morning on the farm. Then I noticed an HOA vehicle parked beside my airstrip. "You can't fly that plane from here," she told me. I asked her what law gave the HOA authority over my agricultural airstrip. Then she handed me a written notice demanding that the crop duster be grounded. According to her, the HOA had decided the flights were not permitted. I didn't argue with Linda. I went straight to my office and checked the paperwork. What I found made the HOA's demand look very different. The crop duster wasn't being flown for some neighborhood hobby. It was operating under a federal agricultural contract connected to USDA work. The next morning, the aircraft was ready for its scheduled agricultural operation. Every inspection was handled carefully, because this wasn't just another flight. But when I reached the runway, Linda was already there. She said the HOA's order meant the aircraft wasn't going anywhere. That was when I made one phone call to the people responsible for the agricultural operation. Their response was simple. The contract was active, and the scheduled work still had to be completed. For the first time, Linda stopped arguing and looked genuinely uncertain. She had tried to ground an aircraft without realizing what that aircraft was actually doing. That afternoon, Linda called an emergency HOA meeting. She wanted the homeowners to believe my aircraft was a threat to the neighborhood. Linda presented her version of the story with complete confidence. She described the crop duster as if it were simply an unwanted private aircraft. Then one homeowner asked a question Linda didn't expect. If the flight is part of official agricultural work, can the HOA actually stop it? The room became strangely quiet. For the first time, people started wondering whether Linda had gone too far. While the HOA meeting was happening, I received another call about the operation. The message was clear. The agricultural schedule was still moving forward. I went back to the aircraft checklist from beginning to end. Everything had to be ready before the scheduled agricultural flight. By then, word had spread to the neighborhood. Some residents came outside to see what the HOA had been trying to stop. The documentation was straightforward and professional. There was no neighborhood dispute written into the contract, only scheduled agricultural work. Linda finally realized this wasn't just a disagreement between a homeowner and the HOA. The aircraft was connected to agricultural work that had already been arranged. Then the engine came alive. Linda and the homeowners watched as the crop duster prepared to carry out the work the HOA had tried to stop. The engine roared as I rolled down the runway. A few seconds later, the crop duster lifted cleanly into the morning sky. From the air, the farm looked completely different. The field stretched for miles, and I could see exactly why the agricultural operation had been scheduled. Linda stood there watching the airplane cross the sky. The flight she had tried to stop was happening anyway, and everything was proceeding normally. I followed the planned agricultural route and completed each pass carefully. This was professional farm work, not the reckless operation Linda had imagined. The purpose of the operation became obvious when the work was finished. The fields had received the agricultural treatment they were scheduled to receive. Back at the clubhouse, the mood had completely changed. The homeowners weren't asking how to stop my aircraft anymore. They were asking why Linda had tried. The board finally started reviewing the rules instead of assuming they had authority over everything. That review raised more questions than Linda expected. Eventually, Linda came to my farm with a revised notice. The demand to ground the crop duster was withdrawn. I never want to fight with the HOA. I simply wanted them to understand that rules don't automatically override legitimate agricultural work. The next time the crop duster took off, nobody from the HOA tried to stop it. And I finally understood that sometimes the best way to win a dispute is simply to let the facts speak for themselves. Like, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. United States.